Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Can you hear me well? Is this any good? Okay, that's it. Thank you. Thank you, Artie. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. Good to see all of you. Hope you all had a good summer. We will start the meeting now. We'll have no conversation during the meeting, please. Hello, thank you. That's okay. My name is Julie Reyes. I'm the chairperson for Community Board 8. Just a little bit about me, for those of you who don't know, I'm starting my second term as chairperson, and I have a little over 25 years as a board member. I just want everyone to just do a quick introduction of yourselves, because we have 9 new members as well. And I'd like to start with our officers.
Good evening and welcome to the new members. My name is Joy Campbell, Chair, and I am treasurer and vice chair of the budget committee.
Hi, I'm Margaret Dello. I'm secretary and I'm the chair of the special committee on racial equity. I'm a part of the Veterans Committee, TNT, and Deb. They do the, can you show us on the mic? We're gonna keep this. There's a mic on each, on the tables there. You can pass it down. And then- Press it. Hold.
Just press and hold.
That was it. There we go. Welcome to all the new folks. I look forward to meeting you personally. I'm Deb Travis. I'm the chair of the Parks and Recreation Committee.
Hi, I'm Jill Towns. I'm actually a new member of the con, but I'm actually a returning member. I'm a member of the Economic Development, Public Safety.
Okay, you can introduce.
Hello, everyone. I'm Aga Chen, manager of the Spike Naval Library.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rashida Hilliard, and I am now the chair of the Housing Committee.
Good evening, Wayne DeBeetham, new board member.
Hi, good evening. Welcome to all the new board members. My name is Ramdas Singh, chair of the Youth Committee.
Hi, good evening, Kevin Wade, new member.
Hi, I'm Emily Housen. I'm on Youth Education, Library and Culture, and also on the Special Committee for Veterans here.
Hello, Danielle Jackson, community member and writer and student journalist from NYU.
Good evening. My name is Debbie Allen. I'm a new board member, and this is my first year, and I'm excited to serve.
Ed Green, chair of Public Safety Committee, and welcome to all the new members of the board.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Walker. I'm a new member. I am on the Youth and Economic Development Committee, and I'm also excited to serve.
Hi, everyone. I'm Adriana. I'm also a new board member. I'm on the Land Use Committee and Education, Libraries and Culture Committee.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Carol Blake. I'm on the Land Use Committee and I'm also now on Park and Recreation. I've been with the committee for 1 year.
Good evening. My name is Ingrid De Leon. I'm the committee of the Public Transportation and Housing Committee. Been here for 3 years.
Howdy, my name is Cesar and I am on Economic Development, Youth and Racial Equity.
My name is Josh Land. I'm chair of the Traffic Transportation Committee.
Good evening, Kelly Buford. I serve on the Law, Rules and Ethics Committee and Traffic and Transportation Committee and former chair of TNT. Welcome all the members. Thank you.
I'm Marty Walpuff, at present the most senior member of the board. Hopefully, my more senior will arrive shortly. I'm chair of Law, Rules and Ethics and co-chair of vice chair of Land Use.
Welcome all the new members. I'm Laura Spalter. I am on Public Safety Committee, Land Use and Environment and Sanitation, and Vice Chair of Public Safety. Welcome.
I'm Bob Bender. I chair the Special Committee on the Hudson River Greenway. I'm also on Land Use, Parks, Racial Equity. And if there's anything else, I can't remember what it is. Welcome to all the new members.
Good evening, new member Angel Ortega, and happy to be here serving the Economic Development Committee and also Public Safety.
Hi, I'm Mary Ellen Gibbs. I'm the Chair of Aging, and welcome to all the new members.
Hi, good evening, Sebastian Gillipoli. I'm on Housing, Health, and Special Committee on Racial Equity.
Can we get Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, and Jayla, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Jayla, and I've been the intern here for the past couple of months.
And good evening, everybody. My name is Artie Malzio. Good to see many familiar faces and welcome to all of our new members. I look forward to working with all of you this year.
I'm Farah Keel Rubin. I am the district manager, Bronx Community Board 8. It's been a pleasure meeting all our new members. Welcome, and looking forward to our new term.
Hi, good evening. Sorry, I'll be very brief. My name is Landon Days. I'm the assembly member of the 77th district. Yes, I'm a little bit out of my way, but I came up here to just observe. My wife was on Community Board 4. I represent Community Board 4 and 5. I'm the newest member of the assembly, and even though I don't represent you guys directly, as part of the Bronx delegation, my legislation still impacts everything that happens here in Community Board 8. So I'm here just to understand your concerns, your issues, what you guys doing, and how you organize as a community board, and how I can maybe bring that to my district and see what you guys doing, and working together from 4, 5 through N8, we can get more things done through the city and state. So I'm just here to observe. Thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great evening.
Thank you and welcome. But for the board members, we normally the public speak, but it's such a small informal gathering, why not? So the regular board members, please don't freak out, it won't happen every meeting. Okay, let me see, do we have any board members on Zoom?
I think the 718 are. We got Lee Chong on there as well.
Can the
Hi, I'm Lee Chong. I'm the a restart, not a restart. I'm confused. I was on the I'm on the Housing Committee and on the Land Use Committee. And welcome to all the new board members, and I hope I get to see you in person.
Thank you, Lee.
Hello, my name is Georgia Santiago, and I'm a member of Aging and Education Libraries, Culture and Culture Affairs.
Thank you, Georgia.
Welcome.
Sylvia?
She's not on there.
Okay, well, that's it for the introductions and welcoming. And we will start with item number 2, the public galleries. We have one more member that just walked in. Can somebody please present their mic?
Introduce yourself.
Daniel, Chair, Environment Representation Committee, also on land use. Here, I'm not back tonight, I think. But come to the next environmental meeting, so.
It's the Wednesday,
We'll see your report on
Figure it out.
your report. We'll have to leave. Yes. Sit down, relax. We just want you to talk. Sorry to put you on the spot then. Okay, so we'll move on to the gallery session. Do we have Emily Dickinson?
No,
Emily Dickinson, is she on Zoom?
no, she's not.
Okay, then we'll skip to the next guest speaker. The gallery session for the new members, in this section, we let the public speak within the first half hour of our meeting. We have no more than 5 speakers. If they request, that they have to contact the board office and ask to speak, and they're allowed 3 minutes to give a presentation to the board. They should cover materials of general interest, nothing of any personal matter, otherwise they would contact the board and the board would either assist them or direct them to the committee. The board members, when the guest speakers give a presentation, they may ask questions, but they may not engage in discussions or make statements. That's for the board members. So we'll start and we'll move on to Karen Argenti. Karen's on Zoom.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, and before you speak, Karen, I just want to thank you again for presenting at our orientation session last week. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Hi, everybody. I'm Karen Argenti, and I'm a community member of the Environment and Sanitation Committee of Community Board 8. I'm also on the board of directors of the Bronx Council for Environmental Quality. And today I'd like to talk to you about something that we're doing along with the Harlem River Working Group along the Harlem River. This past spring, the Harlem River Working Group and BCEQ put in an application to National Park Service Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance Program to get technical assistance to help us with our waterfront and greenway plan. And so National Park Services granted us that service, and we're working up a work plan. You know, it's the federal government, so they have a lot of procedures. And we are going to involve the community to see what you think we should do in your area. And I think we have it broken up as of now, 7 and 8, 4 and 5, and 1. And we also are doing Manhattan too. So I just wanted to invite you to these meetings, which we don't have a date yet. There's a form on the table when you came in with a QR code and my email. My email is for people who are not in the audience. My email is on next to my name on the Zoom, and it's Karen@bceq.org. I'd also like to talk a little bit about an item that's on your agenda for today concerning the Victorian home at the Hebrew Home South Pit property. From an environmental impact statement point of view, this building is, the proposal you have before you is that this building is to be demolished. When the environmental assessment, which is the beginning of the environmental impact statement process, the assessment stated that that building was not to be demolished. And they went forward with review, and they came out with what is called a conditional negative declaration, because it's not going to really have that much of an impact. So what I'm saying is that Victorian house, old Victorian house, which dates back to the 1700s, even before our country was made into a country and that we had actual dollars. I read the deed of the original property, that the earliest one that anybody could find, and it was paid for in pounds and shillings. And so there was a little handshake deal that during the meeting yesterday that they would extend it for about 90 days so that the Kingsbridge Historical Society could go forward and find out what information more they have on this issue. It's not that there is new information, but there was no place for new information to go when it wasn't being part of the process. And so I would say, and I know that there's a motion there and I don't really expect too much, but in my opinion, in order to preserve the sanctity of our ability to have input on environmental impact statements, it would be better if the applicant, because that's the general person that does it, actually started to do the study. That doesn't mean that the Kingsbridge Group, which is a non-for-profit, and Nick does it, you know, on his own time as a volunteer, just as I do this as a volunteer. And so it just seems like it's an uneven equity. So that's my point of view.
Thank you, Karen. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Argenti?
I have one question for Karen, which is for the Harlem River Visioning Group. What is the time commitment roughly?
I think there's only going to be about 2 meetings, 3 at the most. And we just want to make sure that we touch base with everybody. So the first meeting will be on Zoom. And it's possible because these people are coming from, I don't know, all over Boston, different parts of the Northeast. And so they're landscape architects and they're going to come and give us some ideas. I will tell you that one of the ideas that they have is that it's possible that they could work with the Army Corps of Engineers to help us with our Metro North problem, which you all know about. The Army Corps of Engineers, we also put in money for federal funding for the Army Corps of Engineers. We got $500,000 with a match. We didn't get the money. They got the money to do some work on creating living shorelines along the Harlem River, a feasibility study. And together, these 2 national agencies can work in a better way to put pressure on Metro North, hopefully. So you're welcome. It'll be Zoom. As soon as I find out what it is, I will invite you all and just sign up on the QR code or Karen@bcq.org. Or if you know how to reach me, you know, send me an email.
Thank you, Karen. Any other
Okay.
questions? Okay, so then we'll go on to the next agenda item before the mayor's office. Alina Dow. There's a microphone.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome back. I hope everyone had a nice summer. Just because there might be some people that are not familiar with me, my name is Alina Dow. I am the Bronx Borough Director for the Mayor's Community Affairs. Very nice to see you all. So I did just want to share, I know that I want to address the elephant in the room. Yes, the mayor, he is recovering and everything that is taking place is for the better of the people, just so that you guys are aware of that. Now, I did want to just share some of the things that have been happening during the summer because I was not on summer sabbatical. So I was able to stop, they were having some complaints on Independence Avenue regarding some of the flooding. So I'm going to be connecting with DEP just to see if they're going to be included in the bigger study that's going to be being held throughout New York City because of the flooding that's been taking place. And also I'm going to get back on top of Kaepernick. Because before the summer, no one wants to claim this beautiful little land that we know is owned by somebody. So we're probably just gonna go in and have them just tape it all off and no one's gonna be able to walk through it until someone says they own it. At the road that we were just on that we parked here, soon this will be closed. I'm not sure if you guys saw, but I was just seeing people that were there doing their little donuts and barbecuing, which is something that obviously nobody really wants in the community. So when School Construction Authority gets back to me, they're going to give us a date and they probably do end up closing the street off. And I think it's only going to be open during school hours. And then after that, or if you guys have to utilize it, maybe they'll be opening it. So we'll get back to you about that information. As well as, I'm going to be meeting with, because during the summer, the chair of the Older Adult Committee actually contacted myself and wanted to make sure that we're going to be able to meet to find if we can put together like a resource event for our older adults. So we're going to be scheduling that now that summer's over. And I know that you guys are also aware of the new laws, the rules that have been put in place for DSNY. So if you have any questions, you can contact myself. I can get you in contact with DSNY and just be alert that there are changes that are happening. And there really is a lot of changes with 1 to 9 unit buildings and homes. So I just want to make sure that everybody's aware. And other than that, if you guys need me, I always provide my information. So my number is 914-446-8393. But I'm not leaving. I'm going to stay into the end just in case somebody wants to speak to me about anything that happened over the summer. Great to see you all.
Thank you.
Any questions? I'm sorry. Any questions?
Rashida?
With respect to the street closing, what does that look like? Will it be a piece of tape or something that could be removed easily?
So I'm almost sure that they're gonna put the gates up. This obviously, one of the major things that's been happening, this for about 2 years, the complaint was that the street needed to be repaved. The problem with the repaving was that DOT doesn't own the street. So then we ended up finding out, I always say, I'm gonna get you guys an answer. It might not be the one you want, but I'm gonna get you an answer. And we did find out that it's DOE street. But they don't usually own streets, so they really didn't know how to combat it. So now School Construction Authority, they're really amazing. So when they found out, they worked with DOT and DEP to figure out what needs to be done. This whole street has to be digged up. So it's gonna be a huge undertaking. So of course, once that happens, they're not gonna want to have or allow for local community people to just utilize this space as a recreational area. So it's probably gonna be like a gate, like some of the parks that have the big gates. That's what I'm foreseeing by being. You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay,
Thank you.
great to see you all.
Thank you. Do we have anyone from the Borough President's office?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Alexis Ruiz. I'm from the Bronx Borough President's Office. I just want to say welcome to the new community board members and share some information with you all. So the latest Borough President's report has been emailed. If you haven't received that, please feel free to reach out to me, or you can reach out directly to your chair and your DM. Some upcoming events today. The Borough President had her 9/11 celebration, which was beautiful. Next, we have an African Heritage Festival, Saturday, September 14th from 10 to 5 at 1700 Crotona Park. I'm going to send your board the flyers so that you can have that information. Also, the National Voter Registration event is Tuesday, September 17th from 12 to 4 at 851 Grand Concourse and Lou Gehrig Plaza. So we hope to see you there. And I'm just excited that we're back and I will be in person at your next meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alexis. Does anyone have any questions for Alexis? Okay, so then we'll move on to a report from the 50th precinct. Is anyone, they had their meeting at the 50th precinct, okay. So there's no one here from the 50th precinct to represent, but I'm sure the Public Safety Committee will give a report. So we'll move on to the next agenda item, the council members report. Just for a reminder, for any elected officials, if they're present, they will be provided 3 minutes to speak. If their representatives are here instead, the representative may give a 1-minute presentation at the end of our meeting for miscellaneous business. So let's start with the council members. Is there Carmen De La Rosa?
No.
Okay, and Karen and I met with her over the summer. We wanted to thank her again. Is Council Member Eric Dinowitz on the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Good to see you all. Happy end of summer. Welcome back to your regularly scheduled community board meeting. We've been, even though it's in summer, we were pretty busy. Since I saw you all last, we passed our city budget. And over the summer, I held 2 different budget forums. I know a number of Community Board 8 members were at those forums. And just so everyone here knows, before we pass the budget, all of you on the board go through your items that you'd like to see in the city budget. And once those pass, I go through that with the board chair, with district manager, with the budget chair. I go through your priorities, and those help inform what I bring to the table in the city council budget and for my discretionary funds. We brought millions of dollars to the district. I encourage you to read some of the emails and watch the budget form, which is, I think, available on YouTube to get more details on that. But a number of the priorities CB8 that you voted on were in the budget. I want to remind everyone, you may have seen that there was an unhoused person. He had set up an encampment in Vinmont Park. when it was brought to my attention, I reached out to Bronx Works. The person, they brought him to a safe haven site, and the site was cleaned up pretty quickly. And I just want to remind everyone, if there's stuff going on in the neighborhood, if there's homelessness or anything like that, you can view it through one call, but you can always feel free to reach out to my office, and we can try to get people the help they need, and make sure that nothing inappropriate is happening in front of our children. It's the same thing with graffiti. We've seen a lot of what's called triggering graffiti in our public spaces, particularly after October 7th. And a lot of you have reached out to my office. I encourage you to continue to reach out to my office to make sure we're aware of it. And we typically get it cleaned up within 24 hours. We have a few exciting events coming up on September 15th. We have our shredding event on Johnson Avenue with Assemblyman Dinowitz. That's going to be at 10 a.m. On September 22nd, we have a street co-naming event for Betty and Lloyd Adams. Two really special people in our community. That's on the 22nd. And on October, I'm gonna look at the date. October 8th, we're giving out flu shots at St. Gabriel's. So we have flu shots and shredding with street co-naming coming up. Any quality of life issues, we're gonna do that 301 call and then reach out to my office, and we will do our best to be on top of it right away. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Councilman Dinowitz, and it was good seeing you over the summer.
You too. I'm sorry, there is one more thing I forgot, and this board's been very good about it, but I do want to make sure everyone knows that I am, of course, following City of Yes very closely. Obviously bringing any concerns to the table, but I encourage everyone on the board to continue to remain engaged in this. This is one of the biggest, most sweeping changes we're going to have to housing in a generation. So please continue to reach out to me and, of course, the borough president and the mayor, who all, play a role in this. So thank you.
Okay, we have a question for you from Marty Wolkoff.
Sure.
Hi, Eric.
Hey, Marty, how you doing?
In June, the board unanimously voted a resolution to contact our state and city officials with respect to a bill passed in the Senate in June to decrease the quorum requirement for telecommunicated meetings down from 50% to 25%. We protested that. I sent a letter on behalf of Julie and I sent a letter on the board's behalf to all of our elected officials, and I've not received any response. I think I received a letter from your office saying they received the letter and they passed it on to you. We don't believe that what the Senate did is appropriate. And if you need another copy of the letter, I'll send it. But we resent three things. One is that they point out it's in the law that we are advisory and therefore it's not too important what we say. Two, that what's the second one? And the third one is, the second one is reduction of the quorum requirement, which I believe is our requirement under the city charter, which is why the city council people receive copies. I don't know if they have that authority to do that, given the city charter. So I will send that letter, but
yeah. I'll tell you, I read the letter. I appreciate you bringing it to my attention. It wasn't a bill that I was aware of until you brought it to me. I would just say, I don't think the bill reduces the quorum. It reduces the number of people in person required for other people to participate virtually. But I can look at it again. But nonetheless, I think the first thing you mentioned is really important. I think everyone here knows, particularly having been a member of this board, how much I respect and value your advisement when it comes to issues that are important, like the City of Yes for housing. And so, a deep respect for the board in that regard. But I appreciate you bringing that letter to my attention.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Chuck, do you have a question for him? Marty, Chuck? This is why I need my gavel. Chuck, do you have a question for? Yes, okay, Eric, you have a question.
This is the issue Marty raised is critical. This city administration, like the preceding one, has very little regard for community or community boards. When was the last time you saw a city planning commission representative present in committee meetings such as land use, or even sometimes the board? When was the last time you had a city official come to any community board except Manhattan? Now, it seems to me that if our city council people are not prepared to stand up to the community boards and say, we want them to adhere to rules, we want them to have attendance at meetings, we want them to be substantive, not just an empty honor, then we ought to all resign. And I'm prepared to do so.
Thank you, Chuck. Any other questions for Councilman Antonowitz? Okay, so then we will move on to, but first I want to consider you an opportunity to take a seat. This is our vice chair. Thank you.
Sorry. Apologies. Hi, I'm Sergio Villaverde. I'm I was gonna say the late vice chair, but I think I still have a pulse. Pleasure meeting all of our new members and seeing, I can't say old members, right? But you know what I mean, all old friends and new friends.
And I know the Rabbi walked, the Rabbi Catherine walked in also when you give your report. You can introduce yourself. Thank you. We're gonna continue with Councilmember Sanchez. Is she?
No.
Okay, we have a meeting with her coming up soon. We appreciate working with her. She spoke at a recent housing committee meeting. If her representative is here, they may speak at the end of the meeting during miscellaneous business. Okay, we'll move on to the next agenda item, elected officials. If any elected officials are present, please raise your hand in the Zoom. And the representative, I see Brent here, you can speak at the end. I can only give you that 1 minute. Thank you. Are these on Zoom?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so then we'll come to roll call. Margaret? Thank you. Sylvia Alexander,
It's not there.
Debbie Allen. Constance Barnes Watson. Bob Bender,
Here.
Carol Blake. Kelly Buford. Christopher Calhoun. Joy Campbell Privateer. Sebastian Judelapoli. Lee Chong.
Present.
Dr. Wayne
DeBeetham.
DeBeetham.
Present.
Ingrid De Leon. Present. Margaret Della, present. Johanna Edmondson. Nicholas Fazio. Stephen Fruit.
Present.
David Gelman. Mary Ellen Gibbs.
Present.
Rosemary Ginty. Dr. Julia Gomez. Edward Green.
Present.
Emily Houseman. Rashida Hilliard.
Here.
Barbara Kale. Rabbi Bob Kaplan. Josh Land. Oscar Martinez. Charles Merdler.
Present.
Omar Murray. Angel Ortega.
Present.
Julie Reyes. Ariana Rivera. Daniel Rowan.
Here.
Georgia Santiago.
Present.
Ramdat Singh.
Present.
Jessica Sosa. Laura Spalter. Cesar Tobar Acosta.
Present.
Jill Towns. Deborah Travis.
Present.
Sergio Villaverde.
Present.
Kevin Wade.
Here.
Karen Walker. Martin Walker. We have. Great, thank you. I'm just gonna move the agenda around just a little bit. After roll call, we will be doing the Waltons and Ethics Committee. And Marty will explain why, then land use, and then we'll go on to the approval of the June minutes. So Marty, Waltons and Ethics.
Thank you. First, my apologies. Last June, we passed a resolution concerning Americans with Disability Act. Those people who qualify under ADA have the ability to attend via telecommunications and be counted as part of the quorum. What we did last June, because we did not have a full resolution in place, having debated in the committee for a period of time, we passed a resolution that said up until tonight, we would follow a very liberal definition and allow those who the chair deemed to fit that category to be counted in the quorum and be able to vote. Well, it's counted in the quorum. So technically, legally, our resolution expires tonight. And what I'm asking you to do, and I apologize that we don't have a resolution, we're still debating and doing more research. I have a letter out to the mayor's office. I have a letter out actually to the Corporation Council, a letter out to the borough president, waiting for some guidance. The Committee on Open Government offers no guidance at all. So I'm asking that we extend the resolution passed in June so that those who are participating via telecommunications be counted as part of the quorum, be allowed to vote in this amorphic state for at least one more month. And I hope to have next month in October, a resolution fully defining what the board can and cannot do with respect to ADA. So I make that motion on behalf of the committee. The committee has approved this resolution.
I'm certainly supporting the motion, but Marty, would you accept the friendly resolution until, not to make it for a month, rather than to make it until replaced? Because in case the committee doesn't have something in a month or needs more time and there's response from the mayor's office, I believe we should be the room or the wiggle room for the committee, for the board. Otherwise, we'd be having the same vote every month.
I appreciate the wiggle room. I wouldn't reject your friendly amendment. It's just that I want to put pressure on the committee. We must come up with a conclusion. This really can't go on from month to month. There has to be a resolution.
I concur with that, so you accept it friendly amendment.
Thank you. Okay. There's a second on that? Vote on it? Okay. Are there any objections to the resolution? Any abstentions? All in favor? Okay. Thank you. Okay, Marty, do you have any other reports? Since you're doing all rules and ethics, do you have anything else?
Just want to expand on the comment I made with Eric. The Senate passed a resolution almost unanimously. It's now in the Assembly. It's in committee. I don't know how long it will take to get out. I will resend a letter to Eric because I believe it's that important. The three issues I'm concerned about is one, even though it's in the law, and it's kind of ugly how it's written in the law that they want to pass, but it's written in the law that we are only advisory. And I quote from the law, "A necessary function in the decision-making process shall not include the provision of recommendations or guidance which is purely advisory and which does not require further action by the state or agency or department thereof or public corporation as defined in section 66, General Constitutional Construction Law." So basically, we knew it. Every agency in the city tells us But for them to put in writing that we're only advisory and we don't have a voice, I find insulting. I find also insulting that it started in Manhattan, who was the original sponsor of the legislation. If we have EC and we no longer have EC, so it doesn't impact us, but rather than having 50% majority in order to have a quorum, they want to take it down to 25%. And as I said to Eric, we're a function of the city charter, and the city charter says we have to have a majority, 50%. I don't know that the state can change the charter, and I don't know who's, in terms of precedence, I don't know who has the final say. I'm hoping it's not the state in this case, but that's my report.
Thank you, Marty. We'll go on to land use.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, last night, the Land Use Committee met and adopted 5 resolutions, which I believe are in the hands of each of you, and if not,
On screen.
oh, they're up on board. If you could read them, your glasses are better than mine. So let me burden you. I'm going to tell you the sense of the resolution, and if you want the resolution read, I will do that too. All right. Let me deal first with the one that seemed to have generated the most attention, and that involves the Hebrew Home. And there were really 2 applications from the Hebrew Home. One was to extend the permit to facilitate the development of a continuing care retirement community. And the other one was to allow for a modification of it in respect, really isn't terribly relevant, but it's modification. What really took the center stage was an issue that was on the front page of the Riverdale Press and has been the subject of some considerable discussion. And that is, there is a home abandoned, not used for at least the last 10 years on the property, which has been generally described as the Victorian home. And it was the plan of the Hebrew Home to demolish it. They do not have an intended immediate use for it, but they say that the maintenance of it and the continued occupancy of it and the continued use of it was an expense that they could not afford to just do for the sake of it. Arrogant as I am, I imposed upon them to change their approach a little bit, but it's only a little bit. There was a very sound presentation made by the Kingsbridge Historical Society's chairman, Mr. Dembowski, saying this has roots that go back to the colonial era. He's probably right. But the building has been changed 15 different ways for Sunday, added to, changed, internally changed, externally changed, so that I doubt very much that Landmarks is ever going to declare it to be a landmark. But it is historical, just has significance. So what I prevailed upon the Hebrew Home to do was to give us, or to give those who favor the historical designation until the end of the year to be able to make their case for it. And I said that I would prevail, and I would hope that the board, if it agrees with me, would join in having prevailing upon Landmarks to take a quick look at it and tell us if it is something that in their view is worth doing. You must understand that the construction of this series of projects that they're doing at the Hebrew Home is based upon a construction schedule. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, etc. And originally the construction of, or the demolition was the first part of that. And the contract provides for that, so that any change is going to cost them money. How much, I do not know. How willing the contractors are to vary it? I do not know. But the point is, there is a cost in money in maintaining it for an extended period of time. We prevailed upon them to hold it until the end of the year, and they have agreed to do so. And if I can do anything to help Mr. DeBrusque get the attention of City of Landmarks Preservation Commission on it, I will. They have been consistently cooperative in the past, and I have every reason to expect that they will be the same on this issue. That takes you to the real issue that's before you, the resolution extending the permit. No one spoke in opposition to it. No one opposed it, and it was unanimously adopted by the committee, and I move it. Oh, right.
And two other people abstained.
Yes.
But it wasn't unanimous.
Well, no, you are absolutely right. It was passed with one opposition, Laura, and two abstentions, Ms. Blake and Ms. Rivera.
And I just meant to say that definitely see what we're going to make.
Microphone.
But, you know, my issue was that in the neg deck and the environmental review, the Hebrew home indicated that this home, the Victorian home, would not be touched. And it prevails on them to take the lead with Landmarks, not the Volunteer Historical Society, who were working like dogs for free, but they need to also take a lead. And it was distressing to me that the paperwork didn't agree with what they finally decided now to demolish, and that's why I voted that way. But I understand all the difficulties.
I think you missed the point in his presentation that they actually did look and hired a conservator to take a look at all of the historical aspects on the entire site.
There's new information.
Just so that we make a good example, so everyone knows, please raise your hand and be acknowledged.
Thank you. I move the resolution and ask for a vote.
Okay. Okay, so let's vote. Anyone abstain? Oh, Rhonda?
The zoning modification.
Mary Ellen?
I have to be full disclosure, I want to use brings, so I don't know if I abstain, I have to abstain or not vote.
The parliamentarian will answer, Marty.
Really brought it up now, that I'm gonna make an additional. If you think you might have a conflict, you should check that out with the conflict of interest board, or ask me if there's some precedent I can help you with. So to respond to you, this kind of issue has come up before. Being an employee, you do not personally benefit whatever happens either way. So you have no vested interest in the outcome. You can vote. But again, I recommend if you think you might have a conflict, please confer either with me or get a confidential written response from the Conflict of Interest Board.
Thank you. Secretary Ellen? Okay, anyone else? Laura?
Just confused because I'm sorry, being late. Did you just repeat the motion? Is it the one we were just discussing?
Yes, it's a motion to approve the extension of the permit and the modification that was done.
I understand.
You abstain? Okay, have two abstentions. Mary Ellen? So we have Adriana, Laura, and Mary Ellen. You have to raise your hand, please, and Angel.
And also, we're voting on the modification resolution.
This modification, right?
People should have a copy, they got things.
It's not on the agenda and it's.
We're voting on the modification only, right?
Yes.
Okay. Keep your hands raised high if you're abstaining on the modification resolution, please. Thank you.
That's not the one that's on the
Who's our
screen.
last name? Because these are.
This is the zoning modification. Yeah, this is the zoning modification.
So one, no, one, one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is there anyone in the back there? Because we can't see you. Okay, thank you. You should not abstain. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so those abstentions, any,
Most Jill 10, yeah. So it's 10, you gotta raise your hand. Jill. Yeah. Oh, right.
okay, so we have Gibbs, Green, Hilliard, Kaplan, Ortega, Rivera, Singh, Spalter, Towns, Wade, Walker. Any other abstentions?
Can you ask Lee Chong how she votes?
Chang and Georgia Santiago.
Lee and Georgia, can you please unmute yourselves and let us know how you vote?
You approve or abstain?
Lee, how do you vote?
I abstain.
Thank you, Lee.
Georgia,
Georgia, how do you vote? Georgia, you are unmuted. How do you vote?
I agree with.
okay,
Ed.
she agrees.
Anybody opposed?
Okay, so we have opposition, we have abstain. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, we have abstentions, anyone opposed? Ms. Allen, Debbie Allen. And if anyone's behind that pole, we cannot see you. But thank you on that. Okay, so then the rest are in favor. In favor. You have 4 more? So go on with the next.
Yeah.
Well, she tells us, go on with your next, the next.
Go on.
one. Yes, please.
The second item is a proposal that comes from the chair of the board and the chair of land use concerning the board office. As all of you should know, board office is windowless. It has no second means of egress and therefore violates both the fire code and the building code. And it's not compliant with ADA. It's also not in the center of the district. It's located at a peripheral point. And for a period, I think going back to 2017, successive chairs of the board have tried in one way or another to find a new home. And on several occasions, they have found a place, only to be told that they cannot rent it because it's in a residential district. And that is the target of this motion. Under the zoning ordinance, of the city of New York, community boards are not allowed to be located within residential districts. That's because of the use regulations that accompany the zoning ordinance. And the purpose of this resolution is simply and solely to create an exception to make sure that community boards can be located in or near residential districts, and thereby make it easier for us to appropriately relocate these facilities. And I move the resolution. It's a committee vote, so it doesn't need a second.
Like the one? Any discussion? Doctor?
Just curious.
Hold it down.
Just curious, is this something, this matter unique to Community Board 8, or are there other?
I'm sure it has shown up elsewhere. I'm not aware of it. I am aware of the pain that successive board chairs had. I mean, we actually found a place not long ago that was perfect for us. Unfortunately, located right in the heart.
Do we know how other regions have dealt with their similar issue?
I know of no other example, nor do I know that there is not any. I just don't know.
Just go on a little bit more on that. We've been looking since 2017, officially since 2017. And we'll be discussing it further in executive session this evening. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Steve,
This is just a point of information.
wait to be called, please.
Just a point of information. Who has to act on an amendment to? Thank you.
I support this because as the immediate former chair, we did lose options where we had landlords in buildings that were new buildings going up that would have been very happy to have housed the community board, but we ran into this snafu. So I do support this.
Oh, sorry.
So Chuck, the question was that I believe the answer that what we're proposing would have citywide application, so all boards can benefit from it. I think that.
Thank you, sir. Jim. Any other questions? Jim?
Do you know what the underlying reason for this, the restriction was?
As a person whose job it was to enforce the zoning resolution of the city of New York and the first person to interpret it, I will tell you, I haven't a clue.
I can't believe that.
I will tell you that there are loads of other provisions in the zoning resolution.
Thank you. This is with board members. Sorry. I have to go to the commentary, but when I'm told this is just board members. It's coming from the mayor's office, Marty? The mayor's office wants to chime in on this and.
Oh, I have no objection.
Okay, go ahead, Alina. I know, but
No. I was just going to answer. So I do deal with a couple of my community boards and they had the exact same issue with trying to get a location, and they, for some reason, all do have to be in the type of commercial corridor. And then I am looking up, I've contacted Manhattan College because Farah did reach out to me about a location. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Sorry.
Thank you, Alina. Okay, let's vote. Those who oppose this resolution? Those who abstain? So then all in favor, thank you. So now we're on to resolution number 3.
Number 3 is an application at 5501 Palisade Avenue. And I'll identify the site a little better in a moment. For permission to construct 2 new single-family residences on a zoning lot that is right near Metro North. So let me position this for you. It is immediately to the north of West 254th Street and the railway station. All right. It is about almost diagonally across from where SAR is. It is on a steep slope in part because it slopes right down to the Metro North rail lines. What they propose to do is on the flat portions of it, they plan to build 2 houses. One of them is going to be on the footprint of the existing house on the lot. and the other is going to be on that portion of that same lot that was not occupied before. It's a large lot, and if memory serves correctly, each site was going to have something between 30 to 50,000 square feet of available land over and above the construction. That's my recollection. And so that is it. There will be no change in topography. There will be no, it is SNAD controlled, and there will be no SNAD violations resulting, no tree demolitions, none of that. So that is the application. The motion was adopted unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Any discussions? Okay, those who oppose? Any abstentions? All in favor, thank you. So now on resolution number 4.
Wait, hang on a second. I think that's it.
They have the LPC and the permit. which you didn't-
But I thought the permit was included in the application here, bro.
Well, it was two separate resolutions.
Oh, okay. I thought they were not. It's my. In connection with the Hebrew Home approval, there is a separate approval of the permit to commence work on building the additional facilities for the Hebrew Home. And that too was adopted, and I'm.
Any discussion? Abstentions? Laura, Tatiana? And Mary.
It's a separate.
No, this way. You have 3, Mary Ellis, who's abstaining?
So we have Laura, Mary Ellen, and Adiana who abstains, Debbie Allen. Anybody else who abstains?
I do. Artie, Lee Chang.
Okay, I'm just gonna regroup here for a second. When we get to the votes, let me call on you. Okay, who's abstaining? If you can raise your hand, please. Margaret? Can you go by last name? Yes. Hillary. Allen. Towns. Green. Rivera. Walter. Gibbs. And Shaw. Who's last name? Richard. Oh.
We got you, Lee.
Okay, anyone opposed? Okay, so then we have 2 on Zoom. We have please vote. Georgia, how do you vote on this?
I abstain as well.
Thank you. And then everyone else in favor. So then that's number 4. So now you just have one more.
The LPC for the,
Oh, there is an application also for the, is this the windowless one or not?
No, this is the building of that extension.
It's the Island Avenue.
Yes,
No.
This is the application to build, off West 246th Street in Fieldston on Livingston Avenue, right on the corner of 246 and Livingston. A extension which would be upstairs in the attic area and to install railings around a portion of it. It is just a little blip on the top to create an office of some sort. Somebody who is not concerned about claustrophobia, I assume. And to put railings in case that person feels dizzy when they walk out on the terrace or something, they won't fall over. This is not a major thing in any sense of the word.
And Chuck, that's the one at the office, which is going to get authorization from FPL, from the Fieldston property.
Sorry, I didn't.
That That is the property that the office was just going to verify from the Fields Property Association.
So the.
Mary Jo?
I have a question. Farah, what was the vote?
For.
The last time? Yeah.
Oh. The LPC,
I
I
think it was
believe it was unanimous, yes. It was.
Now, do we have a vote on either home?
The Hebrew Home on the permit again was approved 4-3. It was the same 4-3 for the modification, although.
What was the vote here?
She has that. For the Hebrew Home, the first one, just the modification. The modification is one opposed, 12 abstentions, and. That's awesome. 22 approved, 12 abstained, 1 opposed, it passes.
So those are the resolutions. Let me, if I may, make comments.
Well, we didn't vote on the last one, we're still talking about it. We still haven't voted on the extension, the cost of holding thing.
I'm sorry.
And since Madam Chair raised it, is this resolution subject to the approval of the Fields property owners?
Subject to whose approval?
Fields property owners.
Fields property owners have not responded. I will talk about Fields property owners in just a
So it's
moment.
not.
Also. They were asked, they have not responded.
The resolution is not, okay,
I told them this.
Chuck, that was a no, correct? It's not contingent on.
They were at, no, it's
Okay.
not. Thank you.
Okay, so
Is there any objection?
I just have a question, because we normally get some sort of notification that they were advised.
There was notification of the property owners around. There was
But
no
the instant
concern.
property owners is usually.
They don't, that's part of the problem I'm gonna talk to in a few minutes.
Because how do we know that they were really notified?
All right, maybe I ought to get this up. During the course of the past year, we've had before us the problem of, or the issue of the mayor's program on the city of housing. Yes, city of yes, I guess, although I call it city of yesterday. And we've canvassed every single organization to get their views so that we would know as a board where people stood before we voted. There has been a change in the leadership of FPOA, and there was no answer despite repeated requests to them. After the thing we had filed our own report, which I might add has been the subject of comment as being the most comprehensive analysis of all of the community boards on the subject of City of Yes housing. Their comment came in. And their comment was one which normally I would not talk to, but it is one that I think we ought to know. Their position was in favor of it only as to their own concerns. They objected to the rest of it and said anything else you do for the rest of the community is okay with us. I take personal umbrage at that. It is the kind of self-interest that I find distasteful. I mention it because it's the same kind of, we have been prodding them, I have personally prodded them over and over again to comment on various applications that are before them. They have not responded by and large. So for example, I lobbied their leadership to just say yes or no on the proposal on City of Yes. It was important. It involves them directly. The response I got was, it's okay, it's no good for us, but I don't care what you do elsewhere. That troubles me no end. I don't think that's the way a community ought to function. I wanted to set that for you so that you would know. And it's typical of the kind of problem, when you ask them for a response, in the past couple of years, they haven't been there. I make the point now in the hope that that criticism will get back to them from more than just me. Because I'm allowed not anyway. All right, so do we have any more on these? Then I can do
Any
one other point.
discussions? Okay, does anyone oppose the resolution?
Yeah.
Any abstention? I abstain. Only because there's no notification, and we've had it in the past. Some good countries that cannot vote. I think it's ridiculous that they even leave there, okay, but on principle, since we've had it in the
I
past.
have one more thing.
Are you, when we're doing votes, Jill? Oh,
Jill 10. We want to ask something.
Okay, okay, all else in favor, yes, I asked if those first, nobody said no, no abstentions, and all else in favor.
So let me make my final point. I've been on this board and served as the first chairman and served as the last chairman of the former. I've been on this board for over 30 years. I tell you this by way of background, something I'm about to say. In that time, I have dealt with, and in government, I have worked with a whole host of the chairs of city planning. With people of such sterling eminence as John Zaccardi and Amanda Burden, people who really knew what they were doing and were doing it. They weren't politicians filling a seat. Over the course of the last administration, and certainly in this administration, there has been no regard for community at any level, except in Manhattan, by the city planning. You have seen it time and again, those who've been on the board here, have seen it when it comes to SNAD, have seen it when it comes to a variety of things. One of the problems in that is the fact that it is not a community-driven proposal. When the community boards were established, they were called community planning boards. They were to be, as the charter provided, a facility to plan for the future at a grassroots level. It involves you. You live here, you work here. This is why you're on the board. That has ceased to be a consideration. And the consideration is which organization screams the loudest, has the best lobbyist, does the most work in terms of contribution. That's not the way it should be. And so I have taken it, whether people like it or not, and bear in mind, so full disclosure, my former firm represented the real estate board. I personally have represented real estate owners and developers my entire career. And I still do. My point in all of this is land use is going to take a good hard look through a task force as to whether or not we ought to find some way to include communities in the planning process again. One suggestion that has been put to me by the leadership of another community board, which similarly has people saying on it it's time we take a look at this, is the following. That the community planning process initiate, except where it involves a citywide issue, that it initiates within the community borough. That each community board has a representative on the borough board, and that the borough board serves as a planning commission for that borough. That'll get community back in the act. Then the subject or whatever it is can go for review to city planning. But it will ensure that the voice of the people are heard for a change. I don't know whether my colleagues will agree with me. I don't know whether you will agree with me. You may have a totally different idea, but at least we're going to do, this has been a tension since the city became a city between decentralized government and centralized government. It will always be an issue of contention. The problem is, it's now swung totally against community interest and concern, except in Manhattan. On the east side, the west side, and the lower end. That's it.
So we will definitely take a look at it and look forward to your, subcommittee.
And I thank you. And finally, please forgive me. I have a sick wife, so I'm going home to say, do it on Zoom.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Chuck. Okay, Councilmember, do you have 2 more minutes or do you need to? 2 more minutes. Okay, we're just going to do a quick cycle while we have a forum. So you can walk.
Hi, since Oscar Martinez is not here tonight, I was at the Economic Development Committee meeting where they did discuss the SACO application called Church Outside the Walls Block Party. It is a church service they give on the sidewalk outside. During COVID, it was very important for them to have services outside because people couldn't go outside. It started then. They have held this event before, and they have asked to do, they were gonna do it on September 8th and also September 22nd. The committee had no objections. They voted unanimously for this. There have been no past issues in the past. We have checked with NYPD who approves this. And also the approval is based on them being able to reroute the buses if there is a bus route being affected there. So if there's any questions, I do see, I think Nick is here, so you can also ask Nick. Are there any questions? That, I have it in my notes here that I need to put the location in, I see that. Do you remember, Nick, was it like West 195th Street? Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll take a vote. Anyone opposed? Does anyone oppose this resolution? Any abstentions? All in favor? Thank you, Farah. Councilmember Sanchez, thank you very much for waiting. We appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. From both of us. Sorry, I'm hungry is why I'm like, yes, 2 minutes. And then we have to go feed me and the baby. At first, I just want to say hi. I want everybody, I think you already did, but to my colleague, Assemblymember Landon Deas from the 77, thank you for joining us here. I think it's very admirable for you to yes, I'm going to join you in applying lessons from here to our other boards. There's a lot I could say, but I'm just going to highlight one very important and exciting development that should be coming down, should be coming out in the news in the next few days, perhaps, the Kingsbridge Armory. So the Economic Development Corporation and the Empire State Development Corporation have now identified a preferred development team for the Kingsbridge Armory, bringing us closer than I would argue than we've ever been to redeveloping this building, even after 2 attempts in the past that have failed, because we have $200 million of public dollars dedicated to the Armory. And we had a very robust season of applications. I believe EDC shared with me that there were 10 applicants, 5 of them very real, which for a project of this scale is sort of unprecedented. It's a very high level of interest. I do expect that there's going to be a rocky road from here, because now, you know, the rubber will meet the road. These great ideas were shared from the community, translated into a proposal by the developers, but they now have to make that concrete. What are you going to build? How many jobs? What kind of jobs? What kind of community benefits? That all of those discussions are coming down the pike. I will state out loud here in CB8 and every meeting that I go to, I do not get to select the developer. I'm not a part of the selection. Elected officials are not a part of selecting the teams, because there are very clear conflicts of interest rules, especially I think that apply in this case, because some of the teams that apply have very deep community connections, and there's you know, there's just been too many things in the past, right? In terms of corruption and preferential treatment and all of that. So I have to like hold myself and I'm like, all right, but give me a good proposal so I can pass it through the ULURP process. But that's very exciting. And so it is happening. All of these things are happening and it's very exciting. So that should be coming out in the next few weeks, if not sooner. Things will probably leak in the press, but you heard it here first. The Kingsbridge Armory development is moving. And I passed a piece of legislation today that I'm very proud of. It will seem like a small change that the fire department has to notify elected officials and community boards and a couple of other titles when there's a fire in a community. Believe it or not, that was a 7-month negotiation with the fire department and emergency management because they claimed that there were fiscal impacts and it would be very difficult to change the way that things work to accomplish this. But I think it's a very important change for our communities because there are often gaps. I mean, I've gone to a lot of fire sites where an emergency vacate order wasn't issued, and so a family is living with no windows in the dead of winter, right, where they should be housed somewhere else. And other examples like that. I've been to apartments with no floor, but there wasn't a vacate issued, so this baby is just like looking at a hole in the floor, right? So you know, these kind of notifications within 3 hours of when there is a fire will allow all of us to just be another fail safe to keep New Yorkers safe and yeah, take care of each other. So there's a lot more that I could say, but I won't unless folks have questions. I just wanted to say hi and thank you all for being here and what you do on the community board. I said it. Yes.
Question regarding the Kingsbridge Armory. What is proposed? Sorry, question regarding the Kingsbridge Armory and the proposals. What kind of timeline are we looking at for something to be up and running?
$1 million question. So selection happens now. That selected development team will have to go through an environmental review, as you all are very familiar with. And that the city planning or the city is trying to certify an application by May of 2025. Shovels to the ground, hopefully within a year and a half. So that is a very ambitious timeline and I'm gonna hold into it. Please help me hold into it.
And any idea what will happen to the service member, the work that's going on there right now, where those service members will relocate?
Yeah, great question. So there's two sides of the armory. There's the side that is controlled by the city of New York, which is the big head house. The big am I saying that right? Sorry, it's not very long thing. The big space, the giant space. That is controlled by the city, and then there are 2 buildings on the 195th Street side that we were all just talking about. Those are currently occupied by the National Guard and will continue to be. However, within the RFP process, the governor's office was okay with us listing a phase 2 of this project, and when I say us, I mean EDC. So every development team that applied, according to what EDC and ESD have told me, have proposed a phase 2 of the project to be affordable housing, and it's all very deeply affordable and ownership opportunities. But that would not happen until the state is not going to allow us to just kick out the National Guard. So it wouldn't, that phase 2 wouldn't start until they've identified an alternative location for them.
Hi, I just wanted to make sure I understood what you said earlier about the fire department they would be notifying the community boards within 3 hours of a fire?
Yeah, so today the NYPD, do you get this? Does the community board get this? So today the NYPD sends a notification to all elected officials, and I'm not sure who else is on the list. As soon as there are shots fired, somebody gets shots fired, and a couple of other different categories of emergencies. So those are going out within a few hours of when they happen. This piece of legislation is modeled after that, would have FDNY or an agency designated by the mayor sending out notifications. So it's probably going to be a vendor that is helping them to automate this process so they can notify them.
Thank you.
I feel popular.
Thank you for being here tonight. I don't know if you were here when I discussed the issue earlier about the state passing a bill reducing the quorum requirements for community boards in telecommunication situations, which doesn't affect us, but from 1/2 to 1/4. We protested, we wrote to the Senate, we wrote to all the city council members in our district also concerned. We found it highly insulting that they refer to us as advisory and nobody cares what we have to say at all. And B, that the quorum requirements be reduced in light of the fact that the city charter requires a quorum of 50%. So I don't know if the council is concerned or, well, the assembly hasn't taken it up yet. But the issue is, can the state reduce the quorum if the city charter says quorum is 50%?
I wasn't here when you were discussing that. I had to look into it, but we are a creature of the state. So I'm eyeing my state colleague who's here. I don't know if it would be okay for him to answer that question.
Just like in any legal situation, New York State, we can override New York City legislation as the state. But the bill hasn't passed yet. I think it's in the Senate, but it's not in it's not hasn't passed the Assembly. It's in committee. So the good news, well, in reference to that, it's a new legislative year. So everything is restarting in January. So everything has to be resubmitted, the bills, everything has to be resubmitted. So everything will be going back into committee. And so therefore you would have an opportunity to make comment and have conversation. I will make sure my office takes a look at it and I'll make sure I have a better understanding of the bill and what your concerns are also, okay? You're welcome, sir.
And whoever that was rude. Thank you for your service, all right, community great board members.
Because the Law and Ethics Committee, they're going back to discussing. Laura, okay?
She's getting her steps like.
Thank you. I know that took us loud. One of the committees, the Law Rules and Ethics Committee, they're going back and they're looking at ADAs and forums and meetings. I was curious, in the council, when you meet and have discussions, are the council members allowed to be on Zoom? And if they are they allowed to vote if they're on Zoom?
As a second-time pregnant council member, I can go on and on about my rant with this. We are only allowed to participate through Zoom if we have an excused absence or excused remote access from the speaker directly. It's the only time. So if I get put on bed rest or something like that, that's when. And even with her permission, because of the way that I understand the emergency order is written, we can only participate and have our participation count if there's quorum physically in the room.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you for taking the time. So then we'll move on to the approval of the board minutes, June 26th. Any discussions?
I do a good job. No.
Okay, we'll just add the ENS on there and then the minutes, any objections? Abstentions? So approved. Okay, discussions on the executive minutes for September 4th. Any discussions?
Did those minutes actually circulate?
No.
No, June or September?
September.
You're talking about the exec.
Did they
They did not circulate yet, no.
That's not Good plan, We'll be right along.
I edited this one out, so. Okay, the next item, chairperson's report. I'll be pretty brief because we have about 20-25 minutes. After I give my report, there's a resolution that I will do after the treasurer submits their report, the resolution regarding the continuation of the office interim. I'd just like to take the time now to thank our borough president, Vanessa Gibson, for hosting a very nice event over the summer for the board members, all the community boards. I think a good time was had by all. We had a nice representation and an award was given out to the Health and Hospitals Committee Chair and the committee. I'd also like to extend our condolences to the borough president since her mother recently passed away. Over the summer, the district manager, Farah Rubin, and I attended a few events, some being that we met with local officials, and we'll continue to have ongoing dialogues with them. We also met with the New Visions Charter School High School for the humanities, which is right down the road, and we met with her principal, Lillian Lopez, and her director, Mr. Camilo. And it seemed like a good promising future collaboration with them, and they're also offering meeting space. So hopefully the education committee will take use of that. Farah and I also attended a presentation for the Youth Leadership Awards. The award is presented to youth who perform 50 hours of leadership volunteer work. They were given the awards on the field of Yankee Stadium, so Farah and I were fortunate enough to attend. I don't know who was more excited, them or us, you know, but the kids were very excited. They enjoyed it. So we want to thank the leadership and also the Yankee organization for extending that invitation. And also to our board member, did he leave, Nick Fazio? Where is this back there? Okay, Nick, thank you. We ran into Nick that evening and he made our evening so nice. Due to personal reasons, longtime active board member Rita Lowe has resigned from the board. Her work through the years is very much appreciated. And thank you all who volunteered to various tabling events throughout the summer. Quite a few members, and thank you very much. We tabled, well, I should say we, because I was on my way out and started pouring rain, and they were out there. We did National Night Out at the Bailey Playground. We did a back to school resource fair at Fort Independence Cornerstone, which the Assemblyman Dinowitz and Councilmember Dinowitz stopped at our table and stayed with us for a while. And we did the Marble Hill Family Day at the Marble Hill Playground. It's been a pleasure to work with Farah again on putting together an orientation for the new members. Thank you so much. They really did all the work, but thank you. I thought it was a good presentation, and for the new members and the chairs, we take feedback so that we can continue to improve for the future years. Special thanks to our presenters, Karen Argenti, board member of the Bronx Council for Environmental Quality, our budget chairperson, David Gelman, our district manager, Farah Rubin, on the presentation for the SACOs, and our Law Rules and Ethics Committee chairperson, Marty Wolfoff, who also did double duty this past week and participated on mini orientation for the members who were unable to attend last week's event. Thank you. And a special thanks to our district manager, Farah Rubin, community coordinator, Marty Malazoo, and our board interim, Jalen Adorno, for all the work that you do. That I think that some people may not realize the work entailed in everyday ongoings, and especially putting together that orientation. Some of you saw the paperwork we have for the land use meeting, but they really do work hard, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Please log on to our Facebook page and like it and share it so that the community can get to know who we are, and the more likes we get, the more that we get the information out into the community. And I will give the remainder of my report at the end of the meeting when we go into executive session and after the treasurer's report. Any questions? Okay. So then we will move on to the district manager's report.
Okay, I apologize if I repeat myself since Julie and I didn't check with each other. Yes, we did. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. We had a great summer. It was very busy. We worked on our calendar for the year. I wanted to thank Marty, Rhonda, Julie for meeting and going over, you know, holidays and conflicts. So, that was a very big thing we worked on. We did, as Julie mentioned, table at a lot of events. In August at Marble Hill, as mentioned, and MMCC, which is the first time we did an event with them, so it's a great new collaboration. Again, thank you to the Yankees. I won't go further into that, but they did donate book bags for us for that back to school event. So we do want to thank them for that as well. We are going to continue to do more events throughout the year. A new event for us, Boo on Mashaloo in October. And I want to hope to continue, and we'll work very hard to continue our Thanksgiving turkey giveaway in November. In Tech Academy, where we are tonight, just invited us, the board, to attend their school party, block party event next Thursday. So I will inform you about that very shortly. They asked us to table there as well. Over the summer, our office worked on a lot of constituent services and cases over the summer. We did a lot of walkthroughs. We did a specific drive-through really with Assemblyman Dinowitz, who wanted us to show him locations that have illegal dumping, because he was given an opportunity to fund a new camera with sanitation. So they can catch some of the illegal dumpers. So we did identify Albany Crescent as a really bad area for that. And as Julie has mentioned, our chairperson, we have been meeting with our elected officials. We met with Councilman Dinowitz, Councilmember De La Rosa, and we are meeting shortly with Councilmember Sanchez as well as Senator Jackson. We'll continue to do those meetings to discuss our issues and our budget going forward. And as Councilman Dinowitz mentioned, I did attend the budget forum. It was very informative. I do recommend our members go attend these forums, learn more about where our money's going in the community. We had the Borough President's Orientation Summer. We just had our own orientation for our new members and our new chairs. It was a lot of fun. I did recently hold my first district service cabinet meeting. I hold them every month. And my next one is on October 1st, 2024. Artie and I are working on our summer into fall newsletter. It's a quarterly newsletter that should be coming out the end of September. I do also want to give a special thank you to our summer intern, Jaylyn. She's been great. I hope we can continue with her in the future. She has helped us to update our records and prepare for the new member orientation. She is a tremendous help to us and for all our full board meetings as well. I do want to mention as we begin this year that I really want to encourage our chairs to be sure to give us their agendas and minutes within 10 days of your meeting. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to post a generic agenda if we don't. I try not to get, the day of a meeting like today, we are very busy, and to get all the agendas and the resolutions the same day, it's a big hardship on a very small staff, so I ask you to kindly keep that in mind. Lastly, I do want to thank Chairperson Julie Reyes for her support over the summer and always throughout the year. And I'm sorry, double lastly, for the support of our community coordinator, Ardmir Malzou. I couldn't do this without you. And I hope you all had a great summer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Farah? Okay, thank you, Farah. We'll go on to committee reports. We'll start with budget.
Good evening again, everyone. This is the budget report on behalf of Chair David Gelman. For the new members, although we are in calendar year 2024, fiscally for the city, we are in calendar year 2025. which runs from July first to June 30th. And in furtherance of the planning, we're preparing to consider, prioritize, and submit fiscal year 2026 capital and expense budget priorities to the mayor's office, also known as the Office of Management and Budget, OMB. In preparation for, and as a reminder to the chairs, the priorities are set in preparation for planning for fiscal year 2026. The priorities are set by the committee chairs. And the considerations that go into how to prioritize include the community input. There will be a public opportunity for public comment on October 8th for the actual board meeting. Another consideration is the urgency of the issue, severity of the problem, the geography, equity concerns, whether or not the item is going to have broad community impact. Another consideration is redundancy, so we want to be careful not to basically be asking for the same item through multiple requests. And the chair should also consider if the item has already been budgeted for. Another reminder, you have a 40 item cap. I'm sorry, 40 items that you can put for capital expenses and 25 items. Do I miss that up? Hold on. 40 for capital and 25 for expense. And we want to be clear about that so that we're on the same page. It's 40 and 25, irrespective of what was said before. And so, again, there'll be an opportunity for public review, and you can take the comments and then based upon that, review the details, and then we'll have a discussion at the next board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. And that public meeting for the budget will be right before our next board meeting from 6:30 to 7 p.m. So then the next committee. Education and libraries. Does anyone report for Silver? Okay, the tentative date for the meeting for the education, libraries, and cultural affairs is September 24th. Please wait for the notices. Next committee, environment and sanitation, Daniel.
Our next meeting is, yes, next Wednesday, September 18th. Someone from sanitation will come to talk about the same exact things coming up. And otherwise, check the agenda and come.
Thank you, Daniel. Next is health, hospitals, and social services. Rabbi Kaplan.
Our next meeting will be on the 30th of September. We'll be meeting with Margaret's committee, as well as I believe we're going to be reaching out to the Public Safety Committee. We're going to be talking about the issue of health, hate and health and mental health, and move forward with, God willing, putting together a public forum on the issue sometime this fall.
Thank you, Rabbi. Next is housing, Rashida Hilliard.
Good evening. The next meeting, which will be my first, is on Monday, September 23rd. The agenda is forthcoming, but there will be some plans.
Thank you, Rashida, and good luck to you. And the next is you, Ramdat Singh.
Hey everyone, our first meeting is next Monday, September 16th at 7:30 at the board office. Our guest speaker is Deputy Director Janae Russell, giving updates on SYEP, or the Summer Youth Employment Program. Thanks to Artie and the board office for allowing or getting the guest speaker. Please join on Zoom or at the board office. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramdat. Next, we have Special Committee on Racial Equity. Margaret.
The rabbi already mentioned the upcoming meeting that, health, hospitals, and social services is having with the Special Committee on Racial Equity on September 30th. The only thing I will add is that, in June, we published our interim report. That's something that SCREE publishes, annually every, June, just to recap what the community board has done to increase and improve and advance equity within our district. So we hope that you'll take a look at it. It's posted on the committee page of the community board. And it also includes an updated capital request map, so you can get a sense of how the community board has requested the city invest dollars in our district from the last nearly maybe 8 to 10 fiscal years. I can't remember at this point, but just about that. We also created a resource guide, speaking of efforts to combat hate. So it's a resource guide that goes, tries to meet people in the district where they are, whether they're younger or older, or perhaps they've been a victim of a hate crime, or perhaps there's something going on that they're not sure if it is. There's a resource guide that can at least help people get started. And even if it's not something as egregious and horrific as that, there are a lot of different opportunities that the city and the state of New York provide to its residents. So we encourage everyone to take a look at that. Please share it with your friends, colleagues, and certainly give us feedback on it. There's also an activities list, for lack of a better term, and it details efforts that every single standing committee within Community Board 8 has taken on over the last year. So we want, obviously, to capture all the work that we've been doing and be concrete about what we're talking in terms of equity. We're thrilled to have a couple of new members. We're always looking for more. We have had several long-standing community board members, and we also want to bring new perspectives and fresh ideas into the fold. We meet quarterly, and we'd love to have additional members, especially with you new members. So we try to take it easy on you because we know you have 2 committed committees that you have to serve on throughout the year, but we hope you'll consider us.
Thank you, Margaret. Now we have Special Committee on Veteran Services, Sergeant.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. We are having our next meeting on the 26th of September. It'll be at the Bronx Ale House at 7:15. You're all welcome to join. And our yearly Memorial Grove event is scheduled for November 3rd. That's a Sunday at noon. Please save the date, mark your calendars. We'll be planning more on that. And I also welcome new members to come in. You don't have to be a veteran to be on the committee, but it's a very worthwhile endeavor to recognize our veterans and make sure that we don't forget. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry, Jay. Okay, the next one is the Special Committee on the Hudson River Greenland. Bob Bender.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have no meeting scheduled for this month, and I will inform everybody when we do have a meeting scheduled.
Thank you. Our next committee, Aging, Mary Ellen Gibbs.
Excuse my teeth chattering. We are not gonna have we didn't have a meeting for September, but in October, we'll be going to the Hebrew Home. Our speaker will be the new CEO, David Pomerantz. And also, we will be updating the new senior guide, the old senior guide is very outdated, so we will be working on it to make a new guide. Thank you.
Jamie. You're gonna be so tired tonight. There should be another one out here somewhere. There's another one. The next is Parks.
Good evening, everyone. The next Parks Committee meeting is on
Wednesday, September 25th at 7 p.m. We're going to be welcoming Margaret Holmes, who's the new managing director at the Van Cortlandt House Museum. As you may or may not know, some of the newer board members may not know, the Van Cortlandt House Museum is operated by the National Society of Colonial Dames of America. That's their actual name. Try saying that when you're answering the phone. The National Society of Colonial Dames, they go by Dames. They have been operating the house since the early part of the 19th century. They are an organization, though, however, that requires that you be a direct descendant of a prominent person who was in the colonies of the United States prior to the Revolution. So obviously, this represents some issues that we raised with them last year regarding inclusivity and being more, what's the word? More aware, honestly, of the Bronx and the Bronx community. And so since we raised that in November, they've come back in January, and then they came back in May. They've formed a community advisory committee, which they were in the process of staffing when we met with them in May, of folks who are mostly from the Bronx and who have like deep historical knowledge. We're continuing to kind of press on them to have affordable, inclusive engagement at the house, particularly stuff that's paid for by the Dames and not by the Van Cortlandt Park Alliance or other organizations, which kind of historically they've leveraged other nonprofits that are often very small and constrained instead of raising money themselves. And we kind of asked the question, well, why not just have somebody else run it if you're not going to spend money of your own? So hopefully that seems to be getting through, that they may be becoming more committed to the programming of the house and the development of the house. But Margaret seems to be very happy to come and talk to us and tell us what they've been up to now that they have a new managing director and who's kind of taken the helm. We're looking forward to hearing what her plan is for really becoming more involved with our community, raising the profile of the house within the community, fundraising so that there's more capacity to do more things, and just generally just kind of to hear what she has in mind. So that will be September 25th at 7 p.m. Two other things I just want to say real quick that are kind of on the radar. One is that the mayor's office has requested many city agencies to look into their real estate holdings to see if they have anything to offer for housing. Obviously, the Parks Department has a lot of undeveloped land that you may be aware of. So we're kind of keeping an eye and make sure that there's no impacts in this district of unused, undeveloped land that might possibly just be a park. The other thing is that the Parks Enforcement Patrol is the agents, or they're the folks who ride around on horses sometimes or bikes in our parks. They make sure people have permits. They make sure that folks are generally feeling safe and people are safe in our parks. They've been very, very understaffed for many years. And we've also requested for 3 years now, I think, to have a Parks Enforcement Patrol command actually in Van Cortlandt Park, because our closest one is over at Orchard Beach. Over the summer, the Parks Enforcement Patrol continues to get smaller and smaller, it's dwindling, and they've really struggled to keep up with enforcement of our parks and keeping them safe. I just saw this week that the NYPD has now kind of embedded themselves in the Parks Enforcement Patrol. And so we'll be kind of keeping an eye on that. Maybe we'll be talking about it. They're apparently doing that with other city agencies that have enforcement as well, like corrections. So yeah, so those are two issues that are kind of affecting our parks. And I hope to see you at the September 25th meeting.
Any questions? Thank you, Greg. Public safety, I agree.
Good evening, everyone. Our next public safety meeting is going to be at 50th Precinct, September 17th at 7 p.m. It's in person only, no Zoom. They do not allow video equipment in the 50th Precinct.
And our special guest speaker will be Assemblyman Jeff Dinowitz to speak about legislation he's sponsoring regarding unlawful concealment of identity. Very excited. We have 11 members, very big committee. New Vice Chair Laura Spalter. I also want to thank Joy Campbell, Privatier, for her contributions as previous Vice Chair, and I'm so glad you didn't abandon us and you're coming back to the committee. We have 7 state liquor authority applications on the agenda as well. A whole host of emails that were sent to the board and myself over the summer months while we weren't in session. And I would encourage everybody from our committee and also all the board members to report any public safety issues to Bronx Community Board 8 and myself, so we can address that stuff as soon as possible with the 50th precinct. It's our neighborhood, and you know, if you want things to change, we have to speak up. That's it. Everybody have a great night.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, next, traffic and transportation, Josh Lynn.
Hi, we have a Sapo street activity permit at the traffic and transportation meeting. And it's next Thursday, so I hope to see you guys there.
Thank you. We'll move on to miscellaneous. We still have a representative from Senator Gustavo Rivera's office, Brent Schneider. We'll give you 1 minute.
I'll try to do less than that. 3 things. One, we gave out over 3,000 backpacks this summer, including at the Riverdale Neighborhood House, which was a lot of fun. This Monday, September 16th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we are giving free flu and COVID vaccines at the Riverdale Y. Come on down and enjoy that. And on Saturday, September 21st at 11 a.m., we are doing a scavenger hunt at the Bronx Zoo. You have to RSVP first in order to get your tickets. 718-933-2034. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Brett. I just want to thank you and your office for keeping in touch with us on current events in the area. Thank you. The Bronx CA's office is present.
Hi, good evening. This is Jumana Escalera from the Bronx District Attorney's Office. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful evening. I am not the assigned person for the community board. Jeffrey Pena is, but he is currently at another meeting tonight because there was a little scheduling conflict. So I just wanted to say hello to everyone. I grew up in the 5-0, so this is home. I pretty much just want to mention an upcoming event. We have a 5K walk/roll/run against domestic violence, and that's going to be on October 26th, which is a Saturday, from 10 to 2 p.m. We're going to have various activities. Of course, there's going to be a walk. We're going to have some DJs. We're going to have food. We're going to have great vibes. So definitely come out and walk for a cause. We're also going to have resource tables. There's going to be things for kids as well. So if you have kids with you that day, feel free to bring them. And like I said before, that's October 26th. It's going to be in front of Borough Hall in Lou Gehrig's Plaza. So that's the only thing that I wanted to mention. And thank you everyone for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Joy Campbell.
Good evening. So are we going to put this on the screen or just refer to the handouts? Okay. Good evening, everyone. This is the Treasurer's Report, fiscal year 2025, September. Item 1, operating budget, personal services, 274,432. Other than personal services, until we approve of the budget, 2483. And that's the phone expense. For the new members, that's paid directly by OMB. Item 1.1, other than personal services, again, until we approve of the operating budget. As of now, the only thing that appears is the 2483 for the phone. 1.2, there are no budget mods. 1.3, purchase order and accounts payable update. Of course, as we're just starting, we have no monies in requested funds and no monies in encumbered funds. Item 1.4, rent and energy detail. Again, for the new members, this is paid by OMB. It's not, it appears in the treasurer's report, but it's actually nothing that we're responsible for. OMB takes care of that. Item 1.5, that's the draft fiscal year 2025 operating budget. And you should have actually two addendum Bs. One is from where we last convened, May 2024, and then the second is for this month, September 2024. And you can see the total is considerably less. So we revised downward our operating budget from 36,266 to 22,483. And we revised several codes, most notably 100 supplies and material that went from 8893 to 3900. And code 499 went from 10,000 to 2,000. 499, you might also hear that referred to as the cushion, which is a euphemism. It's just a code that we can use if we have to modify the budget for normal operating expenses. The reason for the downward revision is because the board has a potential expenditure. And so this is a contingency budget, thanks to the foresight of our district manager, who doesn't want us to be blindsided. We're preparing now in the event that the board has to make that expenditure. And the difference in the budgets is roughly 13,000, just under 14,000, say, and so we'll go into Zach. Okay. So the resolution is as follows. Based on the current needs of the office, the following budget is recommended for fiscal year 2025 for Bronx Community Board 8 by the treasurer and board chair. Whereas the treasurer and chair of Bronx Community Board 8 prepared a projected operating budget for the board's expenses for fiscal year 2025, be it resolved that Community Board 8 approves the projected operating budget for fiscal year 2025. Question? Second.
Okay, so, thank you. Thank you. Okay, you second, so no discussions, any votes, any abstentions? Any opposed? So then all in favor? Thank you. We're going to go into executive session, but for less than half a minute. Dinowitz's representative just wants to give a date of an event that's coming. As council member. Council member. Okay, you have less than a minute.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Great. I'm gonna be quick. So we are having an upcoming event that we're partnering with the Assembly Office with. That's gonna be this Sunday. It's gonna be off of the corner of, I believe, 235 and Johnson. We're also gonna have Riverdale Library Hours, Wednesday, 9/18. I will be there. And if you have any questions about the shredding event, what to bring, what not to bring, give a call to the office, 718-549-7300. Also 2-3 First and Corlier is the office. We want to stop by and say hi. We also wanted to talk about the encampment issue that we helped resolve with the partnership with the Parks Department, DSNY, and the NYPD over at Venmont Veteran Park. We got a lot of phone calls about that. We definitely wanted to go ahead and help with that, so we were able to get it cleared. Local Law 18, Councilmember Dinowitz's bill, which allows the electronic transfer of a student's IEP, which is being implemented. If you are a student with a disability or you guardian of a student with disabilities, you can call our office and we will give an explanation. And then last but not least, we have some leaf bags available for the homeowners or for anybody that is active in like cleaning up around their building. In the neighborhood, if you want to collect some leaf bags, come to our office, and we also have COVID kits. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. So before we go into executive session, does anyone have any questions? Okay, so then I make a motion to go into executive session based on open meetings law 105H and 105F. Thank you. So we'll take a vote on the motion. Anyone abstain? Anyone opposed? So all in favor? Okay, so then that was for the motion to go into executive session. Do we have? So now I'm going to ask for a vote that everyone leave. We have to vote on the actual going into session.
We just have a resolution. So those who are leaving, want to know.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, we're not gonna have, I have to do the resolution before. I'm so sorry. I take back my motion and I'm presenting a resolution because it's not a personnel matter, it's a budget item.
The resolution is on the agenda.
Okay, the resolution to extend our intern, thank you.
Yes.
Right, it's a budget, it's not a personal item. Right. Thank you. Okay, so back on track. I have a resolution asking the board to approve extending our intern until December. Everyone has a resolution? Okay, any discussion on that?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, Marty, call the question. Okay, any abstentions? Anyone opposed? So approved. Thank you. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Steve. Okay, so now I make a motion to go into executive session based on open meetings law 105H and 105F. Thank you. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? So all in favor? Okay, now I ask people to leave. Okay, so any non-board member, thank you first for coming. We're going to go into executive session. You're welcome to hang around and come back, but we're really probably likely gonna just adjourn. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to ask the people on Zoom, thank you for attending. You can wait in the waiting room. After when we come back out of executive session, if there's, I don't think there's any resolutions, but there may not be. And we'll likely adjourn. Okay, so we're out of executive session. So.
Somebody has a motion to adjourn.
And Emily second, thank you. Have a good evening, everybody.